Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and for today we got the profile for the deck we brought to Locals this past week, being Gouki. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a win this time. We got hit with Underworld Goddess twice, so that was really unfortunate. But yeah, really excited for the new support coming later this year. So here's what the current deck looks like on paper, and then we'll get to the card by card. Alright, so starting off with the monsters, we got Gouki Bear Hug. I'm gonna just talk about the unique effects. I'm not gonna mention the searching another Gouki card after this, for the sake of speed. Basically, when this one is normal summoned, or if it's special summoned by the effect of a Gouki card, you get to target a monster your opponent controls, and its attack gets cut in half. Next, we are running one Moonsault. This one is actually going to get cut for one of the new cards in Doom of Dimensions. But this one just helps you recycle resources. That's basically all that's for. Next, 2 copies of Gouki Rescorpio. This one, you can normal summon it without tributing if you either A, have no monsters on your field, or B, only control Goukis. Also running 2 Tag Partner. This one, it basically gives a Link monster that uses it as material an extra 1,000 attack. Next, of course, is the main starter. 3 copies of Gouki Suprex. When he's normal summoned, you spell summon a Gouki monster from your hand. So he is your main starter. Of course, we are getting a second starter in Doom of Dimensions, but for now, this is basically the main monster you want to see. Next, 3 copies of Gouki Twist Cobra. This one, you tribute a Gouki monster as a quick effect to target another Gouki monster you control, and it gains attack equal to the original attack of the tributed monster. So this is just to help push for damage, because this is kind of an OTK style deck. Next, 3 copies of Gouki Headbat. You can discard a Gouki monster to special summon it and give 800 attack to another Gouki monster that you control. This one's basically just kind of as an extender. But then, of course, you can also use it to help pump out damage. I am on 1 Gouki Iron Claw. This one is to help increase damage, and it also makes the monster that you use its effect on unaffected by your opponent's card effects. So that way you can try to get even more damage in, and to dodge pesky continuous effects. We are on 2 Gouki Guts. This one, when he's in defense position, he can't be destroyed by battle. And then during your main phase, you can make all Goukis you control gain 200 attack. That normally doesn't come up that much. It's mainly, just to be link material. 2 Gouki Octo Stretch. Basically, when you would take battle or effect damage, you can discard it to cut the battle damage in half. And finally, rounding out the monsters, 2 copies of Gouki Ring Trainer. This one, if you control no monsters, you can reveal this card in your hand and target a Gouki Link in your grave, special summon both, but the Link monster loses 500 attack. So this is just a way to bounce back after your board has been broken, if it gets broken, but considering that Gouki hasn't had any support since 2020, it's probably going to get broken. Next, moving on to the spells, we got 3 copies of Gouki Rematch. This one, you target 2 Goukis in your graveyard with different levels and special summon them in defense position. So this is, of course, one of the main cards of the deck. This is, of course, one of the main things you're going to be getting off of the mini search effects from the Goukis. Also have 2 copies of Gouki Face Turn. So you target 1 Gouki card you control and a Gouki monster in your grave. You destroy the card on your field and then special summon the monster from the grave. So this is just kind of a way to trade resources. You can exchange, like, say, 1 monster for another. Also on to Gouki finishing move. So you target a Gouki link you control, and it gains attack equal to its link rating times 1,000 till the end of the turn, and it also gets piercing. You can only attack with Gouki monsters the turn you activate this, but this is like a pure anime-style Gouki deck, so that's not an issue for us. Next, moving on to some of the more generic spells. For the limited cards, we got 1 Reasoning, 1 for 1, 1 Rhoda, 1 Monster Reborn, you know, just to be starters or extenders, whichever way it ends up being. Also tried out a new card this time, or well, new, being Feast of the Wild level 5. So with this one, you can special summon up to 2 level 5 warrior type monsters from your hand and or grave, but their effects are negated and they cannot attack. So for this, it makes drawing, say, Scorpio and Tag Partner not as bad as it normally would be without this card, and then you can also just get them out from the graveyard. So it does open up some possibilities there. So I am liking this card in the deck so far. Next, 2 copies of Twin Twisters just to deal with problematic back row, things like Solemns, Torrential Tribute, stuff like that. And then 1 Jar of Avarice to recycle back our resources. Alright, and then moving on to the extra deck. I have 1 copy of Heal Ogre. This one is a negate, but only if there's a monster that it points to. So it's very, very situational, but it could come up. So I am still running just the 1. I might replace it later with the new support. Haven't decided yet. 3 copies of Jet Ogre. This is, of course, a Link 2. And basically, its only relevant effect is that when it's sent from the field to the grave, all other Goukis that you currently control gain 500 attack till the end of the turn. So this is a way to try to pump up some of your bigger Link monsters. 1 Gouki Thunder Ogre. He basically provides an extra normal summon if we need it. 1 copy of Gouki the Blade Ogre. This one gains 300 for each monster it points to. And then once per turn, you can tribute a monster this card points to on either field to give it a second attack during the battle phase. So this one can serve as a unique type of removal, and also can attack twice, so that is very nice when you can use it. 1 Gouki the Solid Ogre. This one is decent for going first, if you're not able to get to Giant Ogre, because while it points to a Gouki monster, it can't be struck by battle or card effects. And then it has the effect to move a Gouki monster from your main monster zone to a zone that it points to. Next, of course, we have the OG Gouki, the Great Ogre. While he's on the field, monsters your opponent controls, or excuse me, all monsters on the field lose attack equal to their original defense. Of course, this isn't a problem for the Goukis because they all have 0 defense. So yeah, just a way to try to hurt your opponent, of course. He does have a protection effect where he can destroy a monster he points to instead. Next, we are on 1 Gouki Destroy Ogre, but we literally never use this. This one's getting replaced with the new support. Basically, the only reason this is even in here is just because it's another name. That's literally it. 1 Gouki the Master Ogre. So this one, he can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. However, he can only attack the one with the highest attack. So, like, let's just say my opponent has a Blue Eyes White Dragon and then Kaiser Glider, right? So he has to attack the Blue Eyes first. And then he also does have a quick effect where he can return any number of Gouki monsters you control that he points to the hand to target the same number of face-up cards your opponent controls and negate their effects till the end of the turn. So he does have some negation built in, but it is a little difficult to use sometimes. 1 Gouki the Power Load Ogre. He's just a towers. He's unaffected by everything. He does gain attack equal to the combined link ratings of all other link monsters you control times 200 though. So If he's able to stick on the field, then he can get pretty big. And then you can tribute a Gouki Link monster to target cards on the field up to its Link rating and destroy them. So that is kind of a steep investment, though. Don't really go into this one that much, unless my opponent already has like some sort of floodgate established. And finally, kind of the main boss of the deck is Gouki the Giant Ogre. He takes at least 3 Gouki monsters, so he is a little more restrictive with the summoning conditions, but he cannot be strolled by battle, and he is also unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters with attack less than or equal to his own. And then, as a quick effect, if his attack changes, you can make him gain another 1,000 attack till the end of the turn. And then, if a card or effect is activated that targets him, or a card that he points to, but for all intents and purposes, it's just going to be him, you can decrease his attack by 500 to negate that effect. The decrease is actually not once per turn. So you can like say if your opponent has like a Veiler plus an Imperm, you can technically negate both. I mean, you shouldn't negate the Veiler because he's unaffected because Veiler has 0 attack, but you get the point. So the decreased attack to negate is actually not once per turn. So, yeah. That is actually it for the deck profile. I mean, this is just a very straightforward deck. It's just, you know, pure anime-style Gouki OTK. That's literally it. I mean, there's not much to say about it. I do like the deck. It's very budget-friendly. It's fun. But unfortunately, with only one real in-archetype starter being Suprex, the deck does struggle a little bit against more modern things. Like, say, oh, I don't know, Regenesis Kashtira, which is something that we faced. So yeah, I am very eagerly awaiting the new support because I think it will boost the consistency of the deck considerably and, you know, just the overall power level. But like I said, we gotta wait till September, I think, for that. So looking forward to that. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, vote in the locals poll, that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.